This one was like barrage with ads.
Do you send it to me?
No, I'm going to send it to you now. No. It's up to you to discover what it is.
Oh shit.
I'm just gonna put it on the general chat. Is that okay?
Yeah, for now.
For what it is. Our group's gonna be like, what? Cyberpunk 2077 mellow tunes? What the fuck? I'll be like, don't worry about it. Shut up.
Oh, so I decided that I'm gonna buy one of those strips I get from its people smaller to put them behind my computer for when the new Cyberpunk drops.
You're gonna buy a strip that does what?
The LED strip that goes behind the screen.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but for my computer. All right, so that looks good. Checking. Twitch.
If only Craig were here to see this monumental occasion. Sorry.
Dashboard.
You're gonna get some really bad audio because I was just trying to see if my mic was not in like surround mode.
Dude, that's something that I was kind of looking to see if there was gonna go on sale during Prime. That freaking arm. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
But it wasn't.
The thing that really sucks is that I don't have any tables that the arm can go on. Because like
because you have that little coffee table.
Yeah, but it's like the design of it, it's too wide. So the arm won't physically go that wide. So I'm just gonna have to deal with it being on the desk.
Yeah.
Either that or drill it into the ceiling. Yeah, that
it just comes down like a Buxer announcement. Oh shit. Okay. We look good here.
Oh, you know what I should be doing? I should have all my stuff in the corner, so that way I'm like in an echo chamber, like that one setup that you showed me.
Oh yeah. No, you need to get that stuff that like dampers the sound, so it becomes one of those like you go insane if you don't say anything.
you start to hear like the blood going through your own bloodstream after a while. I actually do. I do want to go into an what's it called, like an echo chamber?
I think so.
Yeah, just for like 5 minutes, just to see what would happen. Like you can hear.
Isn't that? I don't think you can make it. You can't stay in there for so long, can you?
I think
isn't like the max like 6 minutes.
No, I think it's like hours. If I remember correctly, I think like after like 20 minutes, like things start to get weird. But like after 20
45 minutes that's when
after 45 minutes you start to hear the spinal fluid moving through your brain.
99.99% sound absorbent. That is so crazy.
I mean, what's it? I saw a YouTube video of someone popping a balloon in an anecho chamber, and it was seriously just like like it did.
Wow.
Yeah, it was the most, what's the word, anticlimactic thing I've ever seen.
I wonder what one is.
What?
One of those chambers?
I don't know.
Right.
Isn't there one?
Right.
Hold on. You know what? I'm gonna look up, see if there's an anecho chamber around me. Anechoing chamber around me. Hey, why does Google have that prompt?
Because he just heard us talking about it.
Oh damn! No, there's not. The closest one is in freaking New Jersey.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Oof.
Are you ready?
Yes.
All right, here we go. And welcome to another episode of A Talk of Opportunity, a podcast all about board games, tabletop games, not just tabletops. I mean, we like tables, but you know. And today, if you guys haven't figured it out, we're going to talk about a very special subject. The Andrew is beaming to get out.
We're talking about Answer!
We're going to the live music right there. Oh, shit.
Alright, want to make sure So after that brutal assault by the Orc Warrior, the initiative now goes to you. Jose, what do you do?
I'm gonna cast And we're back with a very excited Andrew. Andrew, how much coffee have you had today? You're shaking.
I've had exactly 1 cup, but that's not what's fueling me right now.
Oh man,
I have been badgering you for like a year. Like, I was like, can we talk about Lancer? Can we talk about Lancer? And you're always like, no, Heather did research on this stuff, so we should probably do it. I'm like, okay, yeah, you're right. You're totally right. But now can we talk about Lancer?
Yes, welcome everyone. I know energies are high, but yes, today we're talking about Lancer, an RPG about big robots and intergalactic beings, I think. Andrew will make it all clear for us in a minute here. But if this is your first time tuning into our podcast, we talk about all things nerdy, specifically tabletop RPGs and board games. But sometimes we dabble into movies, books, and also video games.
Wait, what are we talking about? Oh, that's right, Dune. I was like, wait, what movie have we talked about?
Dune. Yeah, we did Dune. Yeah, I guess we need to do more movies, man. Oppenheimer's gonna be the next one.
Okay, so Teresa wanted to go see Insidious: The Red Door, and I'm like, that's fine. You know, that's fair. You know, she's like, oh, you know, we can have a date night, and we got that. Okay, that's fine. But we're definitely seeing Oppenheimer next week. Like, and we were on the way to the movie theater. Like, so we're gonna see Oppenheimer next week, right? She goes, no, and I'm like, wait, seriously?
Andrew, you're not gonna do Barbenheimer?
No, I'm not gonna. Well, we might see Barbie.
Yeah, we're actually, the girls are. I told you, like, the girls are gonna dress up like Barbie, and then the boys are gonna dress up like Oppenheimer. I already got my suspenders, my hat, and my tie. I was even gonna get like herbal cigarettes.
Yeah. No, I mean, the guys should dress up like Ken. And the girls should dress like flappers. That's totally fine. You can totally do it.
Oh, Barbie, yes, I am the destroyer of worlds.
I have become Barbie, the destroyer of worlds. Now we're all sons of Barbie now.
Yeah, I can't wait for next week. It's gonna be great.
Man, somebody online posted like, if you don't learn from history, you're doomed to repeat it, and it was the Animal Crossing Doom release with the Barbie Oppenheimer
release. Yeah. Hey, it's very wholesome in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, you know, it's probably after Oppenheimer, you're probably gonna want a little like, oh, let's go see Ryan Gosling and Margot Robbie be fake plastic people.
No. We're actually watching Barbie first, and then.
Oh my God, no!
And we're gonna get home and watch some Disney movies or something.
Yeah,
you're gonna be shaking. Jesus Christ.
Anyway, speaking of apocalyptic events and fake people, Lancer.
Wait, no, hold on, traditions. What are you drinking today, Andrew? It's part of our whole thing.
Well, I had a cup of coffee. This is like my first cup of coffee that I had like in a week. Okay, people don't know this, but when I was DMing last session, I was on no coffee. So like, you're lucky I didn't have an aneurysm.
What the fuck is this? I'm having the trifecta today. I am having one for fun.
What's that?
He said Joyba bubble tea.
Okay.
Raspberry dragon fruit black tea. One for energy.
Ooh.
Alani peach. And one for hydration, which is my water bottle. As you should. So this little thing comes with. There's a little. Look at this thing. It's like the future.
Whoa! A telescopic.
It's a straw, yeah.
A telescopic boba straw. Oh, nice try.
Wait, hold on. No, because I went in.
Oh, okay.
There you go.
You know what? I don't want to be a contrarian here. I really don't like boba. I don't like the idea that there's something.
And that's everything for today, guys. Thank you for joining us on another episode of Just static.
I
You missed your chance, Andrew.
No, I'm just saying I don't like the idea of something with texture in a drink. Like something about like these like, you know, like.
Well, you're extremely wrong.
No, I mean I get it. Like, and the thing about it is like I love pulpy juices, but I don't like big chewy
balls.
Things. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I understand. You don't like balls in your mouth.
I was trying to be okay. Trying to be a little bit more tasteful than that, but all right, here we go.
All right, let's talk about this. Whew, here, I need to crack a cold one. Because today's gonna be a pretty intense episode.
Yeah, Pat, it's strap in, boy. We're gonna be here for a minute.
So Andrew told me, Andrew's okay. So he already read the book like what, like 2 times front and back.
I read this book and I read 2 supplementals.
Yeah, and then I'm like, okay, well I have like a week to get ready. Or 2 weeks to get ready. Let me read some of the book. Ask me how much of the book I read, Andrew.
Okay, I'm gonna say you got to page 30.
I got to the cover.
What?
It says Lance.
Oh my god.
I've been so busy. And then when I sat down to read it, I was like, I need to put some hours into Final Fantasy.
Okay, all right. Oh.
Next thing I know, it's today, and now here we are.
I just realized my ceiling fan's been on this entire time, so.
Oh, unbelievable! So unprofessional. Everybody could hear it.
Yeah, so if no, actually that was the sound of my mech suit in the background.
Oh.
Nuclear fuel rods going off and shit, taking structure damage. Anyways.
All right, so I got introduced to Lance. I'm gonna talk about like my brief, experience with Lancer because it's only been. Actually, you introduced it to me during that episode that we talked about different RPGs. Mm-hmm. So if you want to go back, it's back at episode 50 or something like that. Yeah. That was the first time I heard of Lancer, and it sounded amazing because like at that time, well, and until now, I'm really big into like mechs, more specifically Gundam, and I built Gunpla, so it was like perfect. I was like, yes, this is actually pretty awesome. Andrew did a pretty good job of giving me a top level overview of the game. Ooh, excuse me. And it sounded amazing. So, like, after the episode was over, I went ahead and bought the freaking book that I haven't touched since. This was like what, Andrew? Like 4 or 5 months ago?
If not,
probably more.
If not longer, yeah. It feels like
ever since then.
It feels like it might have been longer.
Ever since then, Andrew has not shut the fuck up about it.
We opened a Pandora's box on that episode.
For like. Every now and then it's like, hey, so there's this one skill in Lancer.
Why? But there have been some times where you're like venting about how you had a bad day. I'm like, would it make you feel better if I told you a little bit about this thing I know called Lancer?
And I'm always like, yeah, okay. get my mind off of it.
Okay, so during that episode, like pulling back the curtain a bit, we were supposed to present 2 RPGs.
3 RPGs.
No. I'm saying like each of us were supposed to have 2 RPGs.
Yeah. It was 3 each, wasn't it?
No, I think it was 2 each. Like it was supposed to be like you go, then I go, then you go, then I go. And you had Kids on Bike and Call of Cthulhu. Am I correct? Or am I?
Dune Imperium and Call of Cthulhu.
Yeah, Dune Imperium. And I was supposed to have Lancers and something called like Countless Stars or Countless Amount of Stars or something like that. And because I was looking up like alternative TTRPGs because this was during the whole like Fallout with Wizards of the Coast. And someone
this was way before that.
Well, it was it?
Oh, dude, yeah, it was because like when the whole D&D thing happened, the open source, whatever the hell it was called, we were like, well, I guess a good thing we have all these things to fall back on if we need to.
Wow.
I'm trying to find the episode on the spreadsheet.
Okay, I misremember that we did it like right when like Wizards of the Coast was starting to pull some bullshit. Anyways, that's fine.
Mm-mm.
So I was like looking up like, oh, like what are some good sci-fi RPGs? And obviously Starfinder came up because we were like deep in the Expanse by then, so we were really feeling sci-fi. And Starfinder had come up, and the Expanse RPG came up, but then it's like, oh, Lancers. It's combat heavy, if you like mechs. I'm like, oh, you know what? I like mechs. Little did I know. the slippery slope that I would be falling into, and I fell in hard.
Yeah.
Like, okay, so Lancer on the surface, it's like, oh, haha, big robots go brr, but like, it's so much more than that for me. Like the book itself is like 400 on. How many pages is exactly? There's 431 pages in Lancer.
Yeah.
The like almost exactly 100 pages of it is just background lore, like for everything else. And then, like I said, there's 2 more supplemental materials that provided even further background and lore and world building for this. So it's just like like I said, I fell in hard. I love this game, and I never even played it yet.
September 28th, 2022.
Wow.
Yeah.
September?
Yeah.
So that's how long I've been
almost a
reading
year
Lancer.
ago. Yeah.
But yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
I want to play this game so fucking
And in the midst of all this, I told Andrew also, I was like, well, Andrew, focus on Rhyme right now. Once you like get burned out on Rhyme again, I'll DM you 1 game of Lancer, right? Mm-hmm. And I'm like, oh, I have enough time to do so. I can do that. I haven't touched the book since. Mm-hmm. So as a start-off point for me to actually start learning about Lancer and DMing, we came up with this episode.
and also, because I know I kind of floated the idea to like some of our players on the table, and it was like not like divisive, but there was like some maybes, some like yeses, and a no. So I'm like, well, maybe we can kind of like get those people that are on the fence, like towards it, and maybe even get the people that said no, But hey, it is what it is. And really,
so Andrew,
really a lot of this is I just want to fucking talk about big robots.
Yeah, let's do this. Let's jump right into that. We've already been talking for like 20 minutes. Okay, so I have a set of questions here that our overlords, the AI, has given me to ask you about Lancer, because the AI also wants to know about Lancer for some reason. Kind of weird, but
it's funny because in Lancer lore, AI is really bad.
Right.
Anyways, go on.
Let's get this started. It's not bad tea, but it does have like that, like they put that shit to last. What is it called? Conservatives in it. Mm-hmm. Taste. Anyways,
did you say conservatives?
Yes, conservatives. right. Conservative tears in here.
What? This isn't boba tea. This is bootstrap tea.
Yeah. All right. So, Lancer, Andrew. Here's one question I have for you.
And also, if you have any questions else that are sparked by this conversation, please feel free to diverge off of the questions that our overlord ChatGPT has bestowed upon.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. Yeah, but this is just to get the conversation started.
ChatGPT for president 2032.
Or 6, whatever.
One of those. Anyways.
No, they probably do a better job. Anyways, Andrew, can you provide an overview of the Lancer RPG and its core mechanics?
Okay, so Lancer, top down, Lancer is described as a mud and lasers modular mech, and mud and lasers means what kind of sci-fi we're talking about. Whereas how Starfinder is sci-fi fantasy, more like Star Wars. This is kind of, imagine Warhammer, but scale back the atrocities about 50%, and you have mud and lasers. That's that.
Okay.
So
I didn't know that was a style of sci-fi.
I guess it is, because I was like, what is mud and lasers? And sure enough, it's talking about stuff that's it's down to earth. We're not quite at lightsabers yet, but but we're still in war. War never changes, kind of.
Yeah.
So Lancer is a mud and lasers modular mech-based tactical RPG that emphasizes crunchy combat mechanics But juxtaposing with a laissez-faire rules for social encounters. And we'll get further into that. Instead of traditional levels for your players, like your players won't be getting XP or like normal leveling for like D&D. What you instead will be getting is that you'll be getting licensing levels, which means that as a better pilot you become, you have more access to better equipment, or these corporo states, the manufacturers of the mechs, will want you to become like the face of their like advertisement. So they will like give you stuff.
Quite literally like Pacific Rim. Yeah. I just watched that recently. So.
Yeah. So it's like the better of a pilot you become, like maybe like IPSM would be like, hey, we noticed that you have like a very like upfront approach. Might I interest you in this shotgun-based mech called the Tortuga? And you're like, fuck yeah, shotguns! and then next thing you know, you become free advertisement for IPSN. And the licensing system is kind of like a rewards / loyalty program, but you will acquire more licenses as you go on, and those licenses will grant you equipment. If you stay with one manufacturer, you will get more bonuses for staying with that one manufacturer as opposed to spreading out. However, that being said, because it's modular, you can totally be like, I want a little bit of this, I want a little bit of that. You can kind of cobble together a build for that.
So how do you get licensing levels?
Okay, so you will start at license level 0. Everyone starts at license level 0. And then if you survive a mission, you get a license level.
So you don't even have to win the mission?
Regardless if the mission was a success or not, you will get a license level at the end of the mission. Because warfare is so extreme in Lancer that just you surviving, it makes you a cut above the rest. But it's also like out from the very beginning, your character is already better than the normal person because you are a Lancer. That's the name for mech pilots, which means that you're better than your average soldier. So just being a Lancer, just you even having license level 0, just you sitting in a mech makes you better than a normal grunt. That's right in the mud.
Right. Yeah. It's kind of like in Gundam when like usually the hero can plug into the actual Gundam instead of like piloting manually.
Yeah.
So then he's a Lancer. He's already better than most people.
Yeah. So, but I mean, don't get it twisted. Like the Lancer pilot itself is physically frail. If you decide to get out of your mech and try to take on a mech, you're gonna get squashed. But in your mech, that's when your superpowers really start to come out.
Right.
In terms of like talent and talent and like your kit and stuff like that. The talents are broken. Actually, hold on. Let's just get this out of the way.
Yeah.
Everything is broken in Lancer. Every mech,
in a good way, I hope.
Every mech is broken because if every mech is OP and broken, then nothing is OP.
No. That's the same principle they went with.
Yeah, instead of worrying about balance, they're like, you know what? If there's no balance, then there is balance. And there has been like discussions because there's one mech it's not in the core rule book. It's in one of the supplements. There's one mech that as a reaction, it can just negate all damage it takes. And people are like, how do you get around that? And everyone's like, oh, it's really easy. You could just do this. And like if everything's broken, then nothing's broken. Like you need to go into this like wanting to make a busted play.
I guess I guess that kind of makes sense for like, I mean, if you think about like any mech pop culture thing out there, it's kind of like that. Like there's always like the MacGuffin that makes something else happen.
Yeah, and it really it takes that power fantasy that we have been used to, and it takes it to the nth degree because like you are doing like massive, like stupid damage to things, to structures, to people, and it really emphasizes just how powerful these mechs are and it also emphasizes that like not everyone gets access to this. Like you are special because you get these mechs, you know.
Right. Right. All right, so let's talk a little bit about the world of Lancer.
Okay.
What themes and like atmosphere does it explore?
Okay, so Lancer is paradoxically the world of Lancer, I mean, is paradoxically utopian and dystopian.
So that's a good question. Hold on, before you get to that, is this like Earth or is it like
this?
It is Earth.
Okay, so Lancer takes place in the year 5016 which means that it's 5,016 years after the start of Union, which is the central power of Earth. Now it's called Cradle. But in the timeline, if we were to like nail it down to like to where we are now, it's probably like 11 to 15,000 years in the future from today's date. Yeah, a lot of bad stuff has happened. Like when I say Warhammer, but scale back the atrocities a little bit, I wasn't kidding. Like Earth went through an apocalyptic event. And by apocalyptic, I meant it went from 13 billion people down to 500,000.
Oh, fuck.
Yeah, it was so bad that the people of Earth did not even know that there was a previous Earth civilization. Like they thought that they were the first people on this planet. So when they rediscovered all the old technology, when they came back from living underground, they're like, "Oh wait, we did this to ourselves."
So why do they say what happened?
It was just it was something called the collapse. It's intentionally left vague because a lot of the history has been lost due to just the event, the event, the event of the collapse. But the general consensus is that it was an all-out world war, the war to end all wars, based on just like political strife, classism. What's the word I'm looking for? Resource scarcity. You know. Yeah. So.
Any similarities with real life is.
And okay, now another thing, if any of this stuff is making you, the listener, or you, Jose, uncomfortable, like keep it in mind, the people that wrote this book, like came at this with the approach that they like, even though it has big robots, like haha, big robots and AIs and stuff, they're like the human element is very real and very scary. Like this is also very like politically a politically charged RPG. But
interesting, because I wouldn't get that at all with like the artwork.
You would.
It's just like big robots.
You wouldn't think so. But one of the developers have gone on record saying that one of the manufacturers is legit how they think America would be in the future, and that's scary to think about. They're actually one of the scarier ones.
I'm gonna try to guess which one it is once we go into this.
Oh yeah. No, there's one like as soon as I say one word, to be like, that's it.
Okay.
But anyways, where was I at before all this? So yeah, it was intentionally left vague, but it was based on like real world stuff that just eventually boiled over, and it's probably safe to say that this collapse happened about 1,000, maybe 2,000 years from now, because we had already developed ships. We have already had space stations with people living on it. We also found something called the Voices, which were bicameral minds that were like not quite AI. And by
what is it? By what?
Bicameral. Bicameral means that, okay, so you know, like when you're reading a book, you have that voice inside your head that narrates for you.
Yeah, like 2 or 3 voices that talk to each other.
Yeah. So you know in your mind that's your voice.
Yeah.
The voices, the 5 voices that humanity had discovered before the collapse, bicameral means they don't know that that voice in their head is their voice. They think it's actually an outside source. So they legitimately think that like God or something is speaking to them. And because of this, Because
so hold on. You said one thing there right now.
Okay, hold on. Do you really want to get into this hole right now?
Yes, hold on. Because you said one thing. First of all, one thing that you said that they found the voices before the collapse.
They found the voices before the collapse. It was, hold on. Let me try to see if I can find exactly when. So the collapse happened, and they.
Is there a page in the book that I can look at?
Yeah, page 338. That gives like a timeline of like what happened before the establishment of the Union and stuff. So they find
Jesus.
Yeah.
No, I was looking at that.
Oh yeah, the witch. Oh no, that's an NPC. That's not for the PCs. No. The NPCs are pretty wicked too. But so
what is it? 3 what?
338.
30. Cool.
Okay, so it's around let me see here exactly. So around 2000 U, which is 2,000 years after the establishment of the Union. It says the Oracle Chorus installation is discovered under the Vestitas Borealis of Mars. The installation is reactivated, and the 5 voices, advanced machine minds capable of predicting the future with near perfect precision, are identified. This creates the foundation of what will later become a forecast galactic simulation. So, it's not
interesting.
Yeah. So the first. Okay, so there's Union, right? Humanity had an apocalyptic event. They had to go underground, and for 4,000 years they were living underground. They resurfaced after all the nuclear fallout washed away or degraded or whatnot, and they start rediscovering technologies that humanity has left. One of them was the voices. But another one was something called the massive vaults. Massive, MASSIF vaults. Yeah.
Like they're printing.
But it's
like that's is another name of their.
Yeah.
That's cool.
And so they're discovering all these things that humanity had found, but they have no context for it because the slate has been wiped clean essentially for humanity at this point. There's no borders, there's no ideologies, there's just people and the planet.
Right. So kind of like Horizon Zero Dawn type situation.
Yeah. So
got it.
So and humanity suffers something called the 3 traumas, right? And the first trauma was discovering the massive vault. This
is still before Union, right?
2 of them are before Union.
I'm sorry. Before collapse. That's
No. This is post collapse.
Okay, the 5 voices was before collapse.
Discovering the 5 voices was before collapse.
Got it.
Okay, so they did all this stuff. They sent what's called generation ships out as like a last ditch effort to people escaping Earth. Right, that comes into play later because there's 2 particular civilizations that are born from these generation ships. Then the collapse happens. Humanity, apocalypse. I said it already. All right. 5,000 years later, humanity comes out of the wreckage and they discover the massive vault, which is the first of the 3 traumas or the 3 revelations. There's 2 schools of thought on it. And the reason why it's called the 3 traumas is because they realized that they had messed things up so badly that there was this whole civilization there before them, and now they were like cavemen essentially. Not essentially, but you know what I mean. By comparison to where they were before, they were new to the Stone Ages. And what did they do when they found this vault of information and resources? They had the Little Wars, which was the second of the 3 traumas.
Classic.
They fought over, and the reason why it's called the Little Wars, no one really knows. It might be because it in of itself, it was a small battle, but a lot of people are thinking that maybe in the grand scope of humanity, one planet fighting itself is considered small now. Right. So after the Little Wars, Union becomes established. They're like, okay, we need to stop fighting. We're just gonna repeat history. So for once, people get the stick out of their asses, and they're like, you know what? We're just gonna do what's the right thing, and they all come together and they create the first committee of union. Now, for about 2,000 years, give or take, all they're doing is that they're just reaching out. They're just trying to like rediscover technologies that have been lost, or trying to reach out to these generation ships that have gone like outside the solar system and whatnot. And then that's when they discover I think it was either shortly before or shortly after rediscovering the five voices. That's when they have the third and final trauma, which is all these ships that were launched out, because it wasn't just the generation ships. There were also like space stations and colonies and stuff in the solar system. All of these ships that were launched out, a lot of them didn't make it to their destinations. So what they have was like 5,000 years backlog of communications of these civilizations or stations or what have you, slowly dying.
Oh God.
And they had to sift through all, they like Union, like, no, we did this to ourselves. So we are going to sit through all 5,000 years of this so we can like really nail in how badly we fucked up as people. And that's like the last of the three traumas. And there's a really famous line where someone says, "We can't bring back the dead, but we will choke the stars with the living." like in memory.
That's good.
In memory of like all the people that died because of their own screw up. However, there were two generation ships that didn't make it, and we will get there.
All right.
Yeah, because one is really interesting, and the other one is kind of fucked up. Actually, no.
Are we talking like Fallout fucked up over here?
No, more like they discovered something that should not be.
Oh.
and then they started worshiping it.
Oh, fun.
Yeah. Anyways, so given this, do you want me to keep going on with the timeline?
Okay. No, this is fantastic.
Okay, all right. So the first committee keeps expanding, and they actually did find one of the civilizations that the generation ships made it to, and that was the trade baronies of Caracas. And we'll get into Caracas maybe later, but that might be its own episode. That's a whole thing.
How do you spell that?
Caracas, Karrakis. It's literally Arrakis with a K at the beginning.
Yeah. I was like, I was like Caracas, like the capital of Venezuela. I was like,
no.
It's like, you telling me that my people made it to space?
Space, Hugo Chavez. What the fuck?
Oh God, no.
Actually, okay, so they start expanding even further out. And because they're expanding, they're obviously rediscovering all this new stuff. And because Earth is finally unified as one front, technology begins growing exponentially. Like, what's it now? Now, in the previous year of the setting, Earth is considered a utopia. Like, nobody wants for anything. It's not like The Expanse where people are living on basic and stuff like that. Like, if you live on Earth...
Right, this is like an actual utopia?
Yeah, like, if you live on Earth, you're on the gravy train with biscuit wheels. Like, you don't want for anything. Literally, if you want it, it's there. There's no such thing as resource scarcity. That's horseshit,
Interesting.
Yeah. The I don't know if you guys noticed by now, but the people that wrote this book have very leftist ideologies. So anyways, so after they expand, the first committee becomes replaced by the second committee, and that's bad because the second committee starts what's called an anthro-chauvinist movement.
Okay.
Anthro-chauvinism is a term that was coined by the Lancer source material, and what it is that it's the belief that humanity has already made it through the Great Filter. We survived the collapse, we survived the three traumas, so now anything that we touch upon, it is our right to like subjugate and take over. It's essentially manifest destiny in space.
Right.
And this is the era of SecCom is where we like very, very closely like touch with like Warhammer, because like if Setcom were to keep going, it would have become a galactic fascist empire. But also because of it, there's also like a weird amount of growth, because beforehand there was only two really big corporations. There was GMS, which was Global Massive Systems, which are people that would provide literally anything, like houses, cars, coffee beans. You want it, they got it, you know. And then there was IPS North Star, which is interplanetary shipping North Star, which is UPS.
Yeah. At this point, you mentioned that we're stable, utopia, whatever. But like, have we terraform any other planets? Are we living, or is it just Earth still with like space stations?
Oh no. We're living on different planets. Like we have gone beyond the solar system now. Like we have.
Oh, okay.
We have found.
Do we have faster than light travel or anything like that?
We don't have faster than light travel. We have near light travel. But there is something called blink space, which pre-collapse, humanity found something called blink space. What?
Wait, hold on. Because you're comparing it with Warhammer, like what is it called, the Void or whatever the fuck that they go through?
The Warp.
So when you say blink space, yeah, my mind goes to like, is that different space, but instead of being all hellscape of like death or whatever, it's just a Blink 182 concert.
Yeah.
And then they appear on the other end.
Yeah, it travel lasts as long, vaguely around the time of what's my name again, and then you're
and then you're on the other side of the universe.
No, what blink space is that it's described as a paracausal rift in space and time. Paracausal meaning that there's no science yet that's backing it, but they're still researching it. It's not magic. But the weird thing about blink space is that you can't, it's not like you can just go anywhere within blink space. There has to be anchor points. So think of it as more like an intergalactic like expressway. There is an exit, and there's an entrance and then an exit, and that's it. Anywhere else that you want to go that does not have an anchored blink space, you have to go either near light travel or just normal travel.
How are those anchors established?
They're discovered.
Oh.
Yeah.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah, exactly. So what they'll do is that they will find an area that has the blink space around it. Like the first blink space station in the solar system, I believe, was discovered. Don't quote me on this, I might be wrong. But then once they realize, oh hey, we find these thing called the blink, they start to build stations around these rifts, and then they just kind of like, okay, let's see where this takes us. No, seriously, like, you know,
no probes, nothing, just.
And it's actually kind of funny because, okay, you know how I said there were 2 generation ships that made it?
Yeah.
The first one made it by just good old fashioned, we're just going to truck there and we'll see where it takes us. That's the Caracas Baronies. The second one, called the On, AUN, On, they went there by using slower than light travel. And before they were able to reach the planet, humanity had already recovered, found blink space, and got there before the Onyx ship got there.
Awkward.
No, it was awkward because they were in space for 5,000 years. They had developed a religion based on the planet they were going to. So it's like, we're going to the Holy Land, and then they get there, and Earth's like, hey, what's up?
There's a McDonald's sign.
Exactly. So then they get there, and then they start fighting because, like, no, you don't understand. This was supposed to be heaven for us. Like, this is supposed to be the land of milk and honey, and you're fucking it all up.
Oh my god.
Yeah, but we can get into that later. It's just like, oh, those poor people can't catch a break.
Yeah.
So there's slower than light travel, which is usually used between planets. There's faster than light travel, which is usually used between galaxies, and then there's blink space travel, which is kind of a crapshoot on where exactly it's going to go, unless you know the established anchors. The funny part is, if you're using near light travel, you suffer from time dilation, which means you as a person, will not age accordingly to the rest of the world. So like there has been moments where a Union member will have to travel using near light travel to get to another planet, and they will only age relatively to what they were experiencing. So they might have aged a couple of months, maybe like a year or two. Meanwhile, the planet, because they are in slower than light speed, for lack of a better term, has aged 40, 50 years.
Right.
So that's how you get people like the Albatross, which is a faction of like good-natured space paladins, for lack of a better term. And some people genuinely believe they are immortal because they all travel through faster than light, or not faster than light, near light travel.
That's a fun way of that's a fun take on that. I like that.
Yeah. So it's not unusual to have an Albatross member help a planet, and then during their patrol they'll come back to the planet, and for them it'll just be like a couple of months, but for the planet it'll be like 50, 70 years, and they'll be like, oh my god, my granddad said someone like you came and helped us out, you know? So yeah,
that's fun. Yeah, I like that.
And the best part is they lean into it. They're like, yep, we're because they're like, the people need to believe in something, and we're going to give them something to believe in. So they're like, yes, we're always going to be here. The Albatross is always here. So they're super cool. I love the Albatross. Okay. Anyways, so Setcom starts the second expansion movement, and by his second expansion movement, I mean they start warring. They start fighting the Caracas Baronies. And we kick the shit out of them. we do such a good job just beating the living piss out of Caracas. But also they this is actually where Blink Space is discovered, is during the second committee. But we also discover something called Monist 1, Monist, MONIST/1, which is something. Okay. This is where things get weird. This is where we start going into like Lovecraftian territory.
Okay.
Monist 1 is a being that was summoned to the Deimos moon of Mars by the Five Voices. It is believed, because remember, the Five Voices are bicameral minds. They don't know that the voice in their head is their own voice. They think it might be the voice of God. It is generally believed that the voice they were hearing was Monist 1, and that they thought a god into existence, Kuatoa style. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And so then what happens is something called the Deimos event, which so there's AI and NHPs. We'll get into the difference between those shortly. The AIs of Deimos and the robots start going ballistic. Like they start like overclocking their systems. They're like going at 150% capacity. Some of them just start going haywire. And then Monist 1 shows up, which is like a moon adjacent kind of figure, and the moon of Mars disappears, just gone. The city of Deimos gone.
What?
And nobody still knows what happens to it. It's gone. Okay.
Reminds me of that one planet from Starfinder.
Yeah, it's just gone.
Yeah.
So Setcom, being like the anthro-chauvinist, like militarized people, they're like, all right, you better bring back Deimos, or else we're gonna start having problems. And Monist 1, who calls itself Ra, after the Egyptian sun god, by the way.
God, yeah.
Yeah. Says, no, you're not, and just shuts off everything in Setcom. Like, just brings Union back to the Stone Ages. And so, because it buckles Setcom, they have to treaty with Ra now.
So this entity, what is it? Like, how does it look like?
Nobody knows.
How do they talk to it?
So Ra like possessed a robot, so that way, or like an android or a cyborg or whatever the term is.
Yeah.
So that way it can have a physical person for them to treaty to. But other than that, nobody really knows what Ra looks like. It's generally, the general consensus is that it looks like some kind of weird moon thing, like a moon, but not quite a moon. But it possesses a robot, so that way it can treaty with the second committee, and it actually is weirdly generous. It's like, here's what I will do for you. I will keep the moon of Deimos and the city, and in return, I will give you something called NHPs. And what NHPs are non-human persons. That they are not AI. Do not call them AI. Okay. Because it's an insult to them. Instead, what they are is that they are beings that do not manifest a physical body and can be communicated through technological means and shackled into something called a casket, which is essentially just a big memory drive. And it says, I'll give you these NHPs, which are 500% better than AIs. Like, it blows AIs out of the water. In return, I need you to stop studying paracausal research, and I need you to stop studying what happens to people after they die. Because that was the two biggest things they were researching. Because they were just like, hey, why not?
They were just trying to figure out what happens after you die?
Yeah. Well, I mean, because
and what was the first one?
Paracausal research. Stop researching what the blink space is. Stop researching these things.
That's so interesting that this thing just appears out of nowhere, fucks you up, it's like, yeah, don't look into these two things.
Yeah.
it's like a shiny something. It's like it's waving something shiny in front of you to distract you.
Yeah, and it's like, and in return, I will give you what is essentially AIs, but not quite AIs, that are far superior than anything you can ever technologically come up with. And so they kind of don't really have any choice. They're like,
right.
Well, I mean,
because they shut everything down, no?
Well, yes, but also on top of that, NHPs also make it to where things, like I said, there was exponential growth before. This makes the exponential growth even more exponential. This is where technology really starts to boom, and this is how we get stuff like printers that are big enough to make mechs and spaceships, and it eliminates resource management entirely, pretty much, to the point where there is no money in Lancer, because what's the point? We can just, if I can think about it, it's gonna show up. So that happens. and then something called the Hersinian crisis happens, which is where we find a planet called Hersinia, which is the first planet that humanity has come across. Or sorry, not the Hersinia crisis, the Hersinia massacre. My bad.
Oh.
Which is the first planet that humanity has come across that does not have human beings on it. It doesn't have humanity. It actually has legit space aliens.
Oh, okay.
And because it was Setcom that discovered it, naturally war breaks out. And this is finally 3,000 years past Union. This is finally where the mech comes into play, because Setcom's we need bigger guns to fight this peaceful alien race. And so on the planet of Raz Shamra, which later becomes a corpo state planet, GMS, remember, the people that make houses, cars, coffee beans, coffee mugs, whatever you want.
Yeah. They
make the first mech in human history, which is probably the Everest mech, which is their flagship mech. It's actually the only mech that, well, that's not true. There's other mechs they make, but that's supplemental material. But in this source book, it's the only mech they make so far. And it's generally considered that they got it right the first time, because there are so many people that fall in love with the Everest. It's actually considered that if you have an Everest, you can just ride off of that. They give you the best mech right out the gate.
Oh shit! Okay.
Yeah. So,
are you talking lore wise, or are you talking mechanically wise, in the game?
Yes.
Okay.
Both.
Right.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah. And so then the Hersinian massacre happens, which details are kind of vague. They explore it in one of the campaigns, No Room for a Wallflower, exactly what happened. But they used a weapon that's called a TBK, a total biome kill. They genocide this planet. And because of that, like the anthro-chauvinist movement loses a lot of steam naturally, because it's like, hey, maybe we're in the wrong here. And so what happens is that there's a brief civil war on Union, and the Setcom gets overthrown, and now we're in the third committee, which I think is like a year 4000 that happens.
Question, and this might be just minor details. Do they ever say why? Like, what was the thought behind attacking these peaceful people or peaceful aliens?
I believe in the source material they don't. They just say it's like the Hersinian massacre is like a black spot in human history post-Union.
Okay.
And they don't want to talk about it. I believe No Room for a Wallflower, which is a narrative campaign, I believe that goes into it. And and from what I understand, it's like a shades of gray. Like, there were like good people on the Hersinian planet, but the overlords of Setcom just decided, no, we're gonna nuke this place.
Interesting. Okay.
So because of that, the second committee gets overthrown and the third committee gets established. But here's the thing. A lot of the corporo states, a lot of the systems that were in place during the second committee are still up and running during the third committee, because Union has been weakened and we don't really have a choice. Like, we need to rely on these things now that the second committee has brought into the world. So there's actually a really good line on page 11. You don't have to scroll all the way to it. But there's a really good line saying that, what's it? You're a mech pilot, one of the best, a Lancer, and yours is a story that's spinning on the coin at the apex of its toss. Meaning that right now there's a lot of political strife in the world of Lancer.
So that's where the current timeline is at.
That's where we're at, 5016U. So because I mean, we honestly do not have time to get into the politics of Lancer, unfortunately. If you want to, we could do a deeper dive, and I'd love to do that. But let's just say, like, Union during Third Com, it's doing its best. Like, it's legitimately like good people doing the best with what they got. But Setcom has messed things up a lot, and because of that, there's a lot of political tension that's like on the turning point of boiling over. So because of that,
wait, hold on a minute, Andrew. Hey, Corrosion 15, welcome back. He says that he can't stick around, but he wanted to say hi. Hi, this is our podcast episode. Don't worry, we'll release this on Wednesday, fully edited, so you can listen to it on your favorite podcast platform. But thank you for stopping by.
Yeah. So
we're talking about this bad boy, if you're familiar with it, Lancer.
So because of that, a lot of the setting deals with like clashing political ideologies. Clashing political ideologies, class oppression, warfare, and just human rights just in general. However, because of Modus 1 or Raw, like, there is an element that there's something outside of humanity that might or might not, like, want to dip their toes into it. So
Andrew.
Yeah?
I know we haven't even gotten into the mechanics of the fucking game, but I already want to play this so bad.
Dude, just you wait, man.
Just all this space stuff, and like, okay, space stuff is very broad. More specifically, like the freaking I already forgot the name of it. The thing that was summoned by the Five Voices, the AI, not really AI people, like all this political stuff, like that whole like, oh,
that's what I'm saying.
Almost like you're a mercenary. You kind of like have to like, if it's, I don't know. I'm itching, and I want to get to the mechanics here in a bit.
Let's just say that if you genuinely, if you take the time to read like the lore section of the Lancer book, you will have so much material to build a character off of. Like, I'm like an infinite amount of material to build a character off of. Like it's just there is like down to like what planet they live on, how they live their lives, what political ideology they have, like how they justified becoming a lancer. Like there's just it. I have never seen a tabletop RPG with such a rich like background to it, like such a rich story, to where like and this is all because like unfortunately the people that made Lancer knew that they're not going to be able to dedicate the time and effort like Wizard of the Coast does to have a team of writers crank out.
Yeah, because they were a Kickstarter, right?
Yeah, I mean, and it started out with 2 people. Massive Press was 2 people. Now they've kind of grown. I think they're like 10 people, maybe a little bit less than 10. But one of them actually got a job at Wizards of the Coast, so he unfortunately had to leave. But it's just like they did all this so that way it's like, no, we want you, the people, to make stuff. And the best part about it is that the most recent like campaign that was released was essentially like a fan-made campaign, and they're like, no, this is really good. Do you mind if we make it official for you? And the guy's like,
that's awesome.
The guy's like, fuck yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah.
So, but I mean,
all right, well,
yeah, sorry.
Anything for that question about like the setting? Do you have anything else? Because you just touched on something, character creation. I'm sure there's like a whole other episode we can talk about specifically about the history of this.
Yeah.
But you just talk about character creation. So let me ask you this, because like
I actually genuinely did not think we were going to get that deep into the background.
It's okay.
That's why I said, how much time do we have for this question?
Yeah, I know. I knew this was going to be like the chunkier of the answers from you. But you know, with D&D, we're pretty familiar with how to create a character. Very specific step 1 to 1 through 5 or whatever. Get through it. Can you tell us a little bit about the key features in character creation for the Lancer RPG?
Okay, so it's all right. So when you start at level 0, they say LL0, license level 0. Mm-hmm. You will start with the following things. You will, and if you want to, it's on page 18 if you want to follow me there. You'll start with a background, which can provide bonuses on certain skill checks. You will start with points that you can dump into your character's skill checks. Now, just so you know, I want you and I want the listener to divorce yourselves from the D&D mentality. You're not going to have strength or dexterity or charisma or what have you. Don't worry about any of that. Okay. So you start off with a background. You start off with 4 plus 2 pilot triggers, which we'll get into those. And then you start out with either a +2 into 1 mech skill or a +1 into a certain mech skill. And then you get 3 rank 1 talents. And then on top of that, you get the Everest. That's your starting equipment. After that, your progression will be static. You will it says in the following page 19 what the chart is, but it's going to be a static progression. What really makes it modular is where you put your points and license levels into, because I guarantee you there ain't no 2 pilots or lancers that play the same.
Isn't it the Everest? Did you say the Everest is like the best the best all around?
Yes. There are a couple of different mechs that I would genuinely consider sweethearts within the lore and the fandom, and the Everest is one of them. A lot of people are like, man, it's really not fair they gave you the best mech right out of the fucking gate. So there is a ton of backgrounds to pull your character from. And like I said, like, you don't even have to get into the lore. You can just make stuff up. Do backgrounds
do anything for the mechanics of the Lancer, or is it just flavor?
It's not just flavor. What it is. Okay, so I'm just gonna pull a background at random. Okay. This one's called the mercenary background. Okay. There's a description for it. It's like, you know, like, hey, what led you to the mercenary life? You know, was it problems of riches, power, adventure, blah blah blah. But then it gives you like example triggers. like things that your character would do. And when I mean triggers are skills. Like these are like instead of deception check, you would have threaten, or or there's even a trigger called apply fists to face.
Yeah. I saw that.
Yeah.
Blow something up. I love it.
Yeah, take control, threaten, blow something up, apply fist to face. So these
are these triggers, because you mentioned they're like skills. Are there like set? Like is there like a list of these, or is it you just kind of make it according to your background? Like if I was a cook and I was like, is one of the triggers like stab with butcher knife? I don't know. I'm just
so there is a list of example triggers on page 26 and 27, but it says flat out, like on the page before that, like with GM approval, you can write your own trigger. Like you can make it, so if you and the GM like come up with something, like you can like have it be like you can have like a cooking trigger or something like that, or or like smack someone with a frying pan trigger if you want to be a cook, and like just so you know, there is no cook background, but if you want to, you can make it. You're totally free to make your own background.
So it's very fluid then, the way like the backgrounds and triggers work.
Yeah, because anything when the pilot is out of the mech, it's in narrative play. There's combat play and there's narrative play. Combat play is very crunchy and rigid. Narrative play is very loose, and to the point to where like there's no initiative order or anything in narrative play. It's literally just narrating, and you make skill checks based on how well you do or whatnot. Narrative play, the thing about it is, I can see narrative play being more intimidating than combat play.
Yeah, because it's very not vague. What's it? Well, yeah, vague.
Yeah, it is.
Right, like the things you can do.
It's intentionally vague, and there are rules, but they're not written in stone. Like there's no movement speed when you're in narrative play. There's no, like constitution checks or anything like that. Like it's very much, what's the word I'm looking for? Like fluid. But like the GM and the player are gonna have to, like kind of improv. But like both sides of the screen are gonna have to contribute towards it,
Got it.
So because it can't just be like, oh, I'm gonna get into a fist fight with someone at a bar. Okay, roll me an apply fist to face check. All right, you did it. Like no, like you gotta have a little something there. Like
right.
So.
So you will go, instead of just doing that, you have to like, okay, I approach this guy, grab him by the collar of his shirt and shake him.
Mm-hmm.
And then I go and attempt to apply fist to face, and then you roll.
Yeah. Then you roll, and just so you know, in Lancer, a normal roll. So there's normal, risky, difficult, and heroic rolls. Okay. So if you're fighting just like a normal guy, like just some schmuck in a bar, that would be a normal roll. If you get anything over a 10, that's considered a success. Anything below a 10 is considered a failure.
Okay.
Then there's the difficult rolls. What it is that you will roll your D20. By the way, there's only 2 dice that we use in Lancer, D20 and a D6. That's it.
Okay.
You will roll your D20, and then you will roll your D6. You will subtract the D6 from the D20. That's the difficulty. Okay.
Okay.
A heroic roll, a risky roll, is that you will roll a d20, and anything between 10 and 20, or 10 and 19, is considered a partial success. Meaning you succeeded, but you're going to suffer something because of it.
Oh.
You only 100% succeed on a 20.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah, and then there's a heroic roll, which means you have to roll a nat 20 to succeed, regardless.
Damn.
Yeah. Like you have to get a 20, or you don't have to roll a nat 20, but you have to get a 20 or above to succeed. Anything else is
right.
Considered failure.
That seems a little skewed.
How so?
Like I don't know. Like I don't know. Like if I'm DMing this, like a lot of I don't know.
But no. Okay. So you have So it's up to whenever this happens, it's actually encouraged that the players and the GM discuss, okay, well, what kind of role would this be exactly? You know, because if it's something where it's like, I'm just gonna punch a dude in the face, you know, okay, well that'll just be a normal role because he doesn't know you're there or something like that. Whereas I'm gonna strap this rocket onto my back and try to propel myself to the next spaceship that is, that's in a vacuum, but I don't have any targeting systems or anything to help me out. I'm literally just flying raw into space. That would be a heroic role because unless you do it perfectly, your character is just gonna be like fucked off into space for the rest of their life. You get what I'm saying?
Kind of like, yeah. Kind of like you just described that scene from Naomi.
Yeah.
I miss the Expanse so much.
Exactly. But that's why there's in between. So it's like, okay, a difficult role would be, all right, you're catching this guy unaware, but he also looks pretty big. Are you sure you want to do this? Yeah, okay, why not? Okay, roll a d6, subtract from that. Okay, you still managed to knock him out.
Wait, watch us your back.
No, but then a risky roll would be like you are actively fighting this guy. You know for a fact that he's like a gang member or a thug or something like that. So I'm gonna roll a risky roll. Roll a d20. I got a 15, which means I beat him up, but he got some hits in. You know, like I'm not coming out of this unscathed. So there is that.
Right.
There is also stats for like HP for a pilot. They have 4 HP. So just keep that in mind when we're talking
what's a normal hit die for like a punch or something like that?
There is no.
So use a d6?
No, there is none. It's just
yeah.
It's considered. Okay, so let's say you get into a fight and the GM says it's a risky roll. All right, you roll a d20, you got above a 10, which means you manage to knock the guy out, but you're gonna take 1 damage yourself. All right. Let's say
what determines that damage though?
The GM. The GM determines that damage. Okay. Let's say.
Is there like a guide? Is it like a guide for the DM?
There is. There is.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm not just pulling this out of my ass here. There is like guides for this. So let's say let's go back in time 5 minutes and you make that risky roll again and you roll a 5. Okay, you don't get a hit in. You're actually getting the crap knocked out of you, which means instead of taking 1 damage, you're going to take 2 damage. He's not going to kill you, but he's going to beat the shit out of you regardless.
Right.
So
that's half of your hit points.
Yeah, exactly. So, but we don't really have to get in the narrative play because, like I said, narrative play is very loose.
Yeah.
Narrative play is very amorphous. Like it really differs from table to table. Like there are some tables where they lean very heavily on narrative play, and that will affect how combat will play. And then there are some tables where it's just like, nah, we're not going to do narrative play. It's literally just going to be just Titanfall, just boom, 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 combat.
Right.
Yeah. So, like I said, it all depends. But
so backgrounds.
Yeah. So these backgrounds, like I said, they just give your character a little bit of backstory, and the example backgrounds will also give you like example triggers you can pull from to use for skill checks. That's kind of
That's it for character creation.
Well, I mean, that's not entirely it. You should also probably establish kind of early on what mech you really want to go for. Because you should read the book before you even play the game. Like at least read the mechs, like which one you really like, because licensing is different per each corporation.
Here's another question then. Is there like a player specific like reference sheet or something that they can have instead of having the whole freaking book, or is it just that one book?
I want to say there is a reference sheet. Hold on.
Because I feel like having the players have to have, well, to be fair, they're like $25 for the full.
Oh yeah, no. Okay, so there's not a reference sheet. There's actually something called there's an online app called CompCon.
Okay.
COMP/CON, And what this is that this is specifically for cataloging and creating characters along with their mechs and whatnot. The best part about it is it's 100% free, and it gives you all the information that you will get from the source material. But it's like an interactive character sheet. So if you're creating a pilot or something, this can give you like a reference to like help create.
Oh, yeah, look at that.
Yeah, like,
compendium, pilot roster,
mm-hmm.
equipment database, manage NPCs, encounter missions. Oh, interesting.
Yeah, but I mean,
I like the UI. It looks cool.
So, but I mean, creating the pilot is a lot of that's going to be flavor. A lot it's going to be like what you want to bring to the table. The thing, it doesn't really get crunchy until you start making the mech itself. But like I said, if you want to, depending on the table, you might want to let your GM know, hey, I'm going to be kind of leaning more towards a Smith Shimano mech, or I might be leaning towards more IPSN. So that way they can kind of flavor how the licensing works for you. Because like, yeah, the more licenses you get, the more material you can acquire. But it's also not described as like a store you can just go to. Like, these are corporations that are backing you. They are giving you like free merch and whatnot.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. Free merch, big guns,
I mean, one of the, it's not even a corporation. It's just like a manufacturer. Like,
can I make a Lancer who's like a YouTuber?
You totally can. I mean,
this battle was brought to you by.
I mean, the very first background is celebrity. So, yeah,
All right.
yeah, you can be a content creator, So,
all right, so let's move on to then creating a mech. Like, how does that start? Like, so it says that you start with the what's it called? The
Everest.
The Everest, and then is there a character sheet? Like, how does that look like?
There is in fact a character sheet. It's at the very back of the book. There is a character sheet. How the Everest looks like, there's no artwork for the Everest because they want you to be completely free as to what it looks like. There is artwork for the other frames, but they're more like suggestions. Again, these people are very like, make it however you want. But the Everest, so you start off with the Everest. You also get access to all of GMS's equipment and systems and whatnot, because it's considered like, hey, here's like, you are a Lancer, like, we're gonna give this to you on good faith that you're gonna go out and spread good. So when you're making a mech, you have to first, we didn't even talk about triggers for the pilots, but the triggers are not triggers, talents. We didn't talk about talents for pilots. Talents are things that are pilot specific that you can use to give your mech an even more of an extra edge.
Okay.
So these are things that as a pilot, like, only you can do. It's actually just. Do
you get these predetermined? You choose them at the beginning, or you like get them as you level up?
Okay, so there is a whole list of talents on page 90. From 90 to 104 is all the talents, and each talent has 3 ranks. Okay. Every time you level up, you can increase one of your ranks into these talents. At level 1, you get 3 rank 1 talents to start off with. So 3 of these bad boys you'll get the very first rank of. And then this will help determine what kind of play style are you going for. Like if you're going for more of a support, you might want to go with the bonded talent, which helps you give players like a bonus to their checks. If you want to go for more of a like a heavy hitter, you might want to go with the executioner talent, which starts off with bonuses to melee weapons. If you want to get real crazy with it, you can go with like the hacker talent, which helps you hack into robots easier and screw up their systems. Like they're just things that you can like lean into that will help you either balance out some like considerably weaker mechs that you might consider weaker, or like you said, or like I said before, it can help you lean into what kind of play style you want to go for.
Interesting.
Yeah.
And how do you make these happen? Like, is this like in the middle of battle, you're gonna be like, I'm going to, because I see that they have like the name, and then there's like I'm looking at Drone Commander. There's Shepherd, Energize, Swarm, and Invigorate. Are these like? Oh, those are the ranks.
Those are the ranks. Yeah.
Ah, I see.
Shepherd is rank 1. Energize Swarm is rank 2. So okay, so let's look at a pretty
Gunslinger.
Okay, Gunslinger. All right, so opening argument. You gain +1. Okay, so that little black dice is a accuracy, which means you hold on. So you gain 1 accuracy on the first attack roll you make with an auxiliary ranged weapon on your turn. An auxiliary ranged weapon is considered like a sidearm. So literally a pistol. Right. So if you're playing a mech that has an auxiliary weapon, and the first attack roll you make, you will roll a d20. You will add the bonuses based on whatever your mech has for it, and then you will roll a d6 and add that on top of that. That's the opening argument, is an extra d6 on top of your attack roll. So,
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
And just so you know, these are talents that only you can do. Later on, your mech can have an AI capability, because you can actually shackle NHPs to your mech and have them pilot it, but they cannot have access to your talents. Only you can do that.
Oh, okay. Interesting.
And what's really cool...
How many talents can you have?
You can have, I believe, 3 talents at a time.
Okay. So I can see that this can make literally your Lancer very unique.
Oh yeah.
Whatever combination you decide. Yeah.
Oh,
so
yeah.
That's cool. I like that.
Yeah. Oh yeah. And there are some really cool talents out there.
So I guess that if I want to arc back to like D&D, then that's kind of how you build your class, quote unquote. Okay. Yeah. Cool. Interesting. Yeah. So there's literally no class. It's just whatever talent you want to have and whatever combination you want to have. And
like I said, once you mentally divorce yourself from the idea of classes and races and stuff like that, the sky's the limit on what you can do. Like there is one called the Nuclear Cavalier, which the rank 3 is you open up the fuel rods in your system and you launch them at people. I think it's actually called Here Catch. And you can.
That's funny.
And you can launch.
Can you run out of fuel?
No. Okay. Effectively not. So, well,
it's okay. That's just there's other questions. So we kind of covered pilot and a little bit of the mech, right? So you get your mech. So you start with the Everest,
right?
How do you decide to go with, I don't know, what is the IPS North Star? Is that a...
Okay, so all right, so you'll have your Everest, and like I said, you don't get license levels until you complete a mission, regardless if there's success or failures. So let's just pick the first IPSN frame, which is the Blackbeard. All right, if you notice, let me get there.
It's cool as fuck. 128.
Dude, all of these mechs are cool as fuck, man. All right, so I want you to look at where on the actual page itself, you see License 1, Chain Axe, Synthetic Muscle Netting. So,
hold on. License 1. I'm looking at where it says core stats and stuff like that.
Oh no, next page. Because the core stats don't come into play just quite yet.
Oh, I see. Got it. Okay.
Okay. So license 1. So here's the thing. Remember when I said licensing is kind of like a loyalty program? Mm-hmm. They're not going to give you the frame right out the gate, because like for IPSN or Smith Shimano or Harrison Armory, like this is their bread and butter. Like they need to know that you can handle the hardware first before they give you the good stuff. So the first license is almost always either going to be a weapon or a system. You're not going to... Right.
Okay. So because each corporation, is that what they're called?
Mm-hmm. Corporate.
Each of them.
Yeah.
Yeah. They make not just the mech, but like all the... Okay, I get it. Got it.
All the weapons.
You're getting a Smith & Wesson versus like I don't know, a Winchester type thing.
Exactly.
Got it.
So license 1. So if you were going for a Blackbeard, License 1, you would get the chain axe and the synthetic muscle netting for the Blackbeard. Now, here's the thing. Even though it's for the Blackbeard, you can put on the Everest. There's no saying what you can't put what on. You can have a Smith Shimano mech with IPSN equipment. You can do that. Anything's legal in this world. So license level 1, you'll get the chain axe, you'll get the synthetic muscle netting, and then you'll go into combat with this. And what that kind of does, that kind of gives you an idea. Okay, so this is how the Blackbeard kind of works, you know, because the Everest is still, it's a basic mech, but it's also a very safe mech. Like there's no drawbacks to it. So then it's like, hey, you know, you got a little taste of it. Do you want to try the real thing? License level 2, that's when you get the frame.
So let's say, okay, so I have level 0, right?
Mm-hmm.
I finished my first mission.
Yep.
And I want to go license level 1 with these guys.
Okay.
Right? So I get the chain axe and the synthetic muscle netting.
That's specifically for that frame.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, for these guys, right? The IPS?
No. That's specifically for that frame for IPSN. You can pick a frame. Any frame that you want. So it.
Yeah, but you said I didn't get the frame. You don't get the frame right off the bat.
Right.
Right. You start with the Everest at level 0.
Yes. Okay.
You go on your first mission. You get 1 level of pilot level.
Yeah.
License level. Now you're level 1. Big thunder just happened. Now you're level 1, right? Yeah. Now you're level 1. And I say, I want to go with this frame, the IPS. Do they give me the frame right away or no?
No. They won't get that to you until you're license level 2.
So they give me the chain axe and the synthetic muscle netting, and you said that I can put that on my Everest. If you put your license points towards the Blackbeard, you get the chain axe. Yeah. Right. Sorry. Yes. IPS. Right. IPS is the company. Blackbeard is the specific frame.
Is the specific mech itself.
Okay, so I go on a mission with this thing on.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, oh, cool, but I find out that it's not my thing.
Right.
Now I have license level 2.
Right.
Do I have to, let's say I want to jump from IPS to try something different. I don't know what the other ones are. What's the next one?
There is Smith Shimano.
Jesus Christ, there's so many frames.
There's so many frames, dude. I love it. Anyways, go on.
Okay, that's Smith Shimano, and I want to go with the Black Witch.
Okay.
Looks cool. I like it, right? So I have a license level 2.
Right.
And I have the black netting and the chain axe.
Right.
Or do I give that back if I leave them?
Okay, so here's the cool thing. I'm actually trying to find the specific page. Every time
160?
No.
Oh, sorry.
No, because there's a specific page for this. Every time you level up, you can reallocate your license level points. So if you're not feeling it, you can just it's like, all right, I tried. I'm choking.
Oh God, no, Andrew, I need to know.
Okay.
I need to know, and I don't want to read.
All right. So hold on. Let me pull up the exact thing. So that way I'm not like misleading you. So every time you level up, you will gain 1 license level point, as well as pluses to triggers, talents and whatnot. If you're not feeling your specific triggers or your specific talents or what have you, you can reallocate points every time you level up. So every time you level up, you get to choose one of 3 options. You can either reallocate all of your ranks from one talent into another talent, or you can reallocate all your ranks from one license to any other license.
Okay.
Or you can replace a core bonus with another core bonus. Now the core bonuses are, if you we'll explain core bonuses. Those are a little bit later on. So yeah, so let's say
so now I'm level license level 2, and I want to jump onto the I already forgot the name, even though it's right here in front of me. The Black Witch.
Yep.
So I just go straight onto the license level 2, but now since I'm 2, I get the frame and the Ferris Lash, the magnetic cannon from license 1, and the Ice Out drone from level 2.
Yes.
Okay, cool. All right, got it. So I'm like, it's kind of like resetting your stats on an RPG. Just and I'm gonna try this build.
Yeah,
got it.
Yeah, exactly. There's nothing set in stone. Like, okay.
So you mentioned the loyalty thing. When you mentioned that, my thing was like, oh, you have to keep with this to get these bonuses.
No. It's loyal up to a certain point. So you can, if you want to, you can dip into different frames or corporations or what have you. Where the loyalty comes in is the core bonuses. So let me get to that real quick.
So now, do you have an inventory? Does all this stuff like go to like a locker somewhere or your hangar? Or once you switch to another frame, the old stuff goes away?
Okay, so when you reallocate your license levels, you lose the license to use this equipment. So
that makes sense.
So you can no longer print it. You know, it's described that you can print all this stuff. Like, this is all available to the people. You just got to have the licenses to print it off.
Is there a class that you can hack those licenses?
No.
Or a skill or whatever, talent?
No. However, okay, so there's a manufacturer called Horus, and their big thing is that they just kind of show up. Like, there is no like corporate headquarters for Horus. Horus may or may not be a terrorist cell. Not a lot of people know what Horus is. What it was actually described is because you can. I'm gonna say this one little thing because I don't want to get lost in the weeds here.
Yeah.
So like I said, you can print off any of the stuff. You just have to have the license for it. Horus mechs just show up into the mainframe and no one knows where they come from. They're actually
these look cool as fuck.
They're actually not even described as mechs. They're described as pattern groups because they're like, where do these come from? Who made these? Hey, who gave authorization to make these things?
What even is that? Holy crap! Look at that thing.
That's the Hydra.
What is happening there?
Wait, no, get to the Pegasus. Okay. So I said that there is a loyalty program. The thing about it is that the more license points you dip into, the more license points, my personal favorite's the Manticore.
I just saw that one too. Yeah,
that was so cool. Anyways, so the more license points that you dip into one specific frame, the better equipment you get. You know, because license level 1's kind of like the basic equipment. License level 2 is obviously the frame plus something else. License level 3 is usually where the best stuff happens. On top of that, if you keep dipping points into one specific manufacturer, it doesn't have to be one frame, but one specific manufacturer, you start to get core bonuses. And how those work is that for every 3 license levels that you put into one specific manufacturer, they will give you a bonus to add on top of your mech. So just for instance, let's say you put 3 license levels into IPSN. You're really feeling the Drake, right. You know, big minigun go brrr. So, you know, you want, so because of that, because you have stayed loyal to IPSN, they give you a core bonus, and you can take any of the ones that are listed in the core bonuses. Like, you can get a +5 to your HP, or you can gain +1 armor, or, you know, you can get some like systems that help you out. If you
sorry, I'm trying to follow. What do you see these?
It's okay, so it's after where it says IPS North Star, but before the mechs.
Before the mechs.
And it's the same for Smith, Shimano, Horus, and Harrison Armory. It always starts out with the manufacturer's core bonuses and then the mechs on top of that.
Okay.
Now here's the thing.
Interesting.
Now here's the thing, because remember those 3 choices I gave you for reallocating your points.
Mm-hmm.
You have to pick one of the 3. You can't do all 3. It's either one of the 3. So if you're not feeling your IPSN mech and you want to switch to the Black Witch from Smith Shimano, you can, but you're gonna lose that core bonus, and you can't get it back until your next level to where you can reallocate your core bonus. Right. You know, so how long? So you level up after every mission, whether you succeed or not, yes. Right? How long is one mission, and how does that play out? That is one of my biggest questions. So let's say we're in. I'm just curious because, like, okay, as a role playing, you know, as a role player, you're with a team and you're at a tavern in space. Mm-hmm. It's made of wood. Yeah. You're floating in the middle of nowhere, right? You're all having a good old time. You're doing your role play. You beat the crap out of that guy, like we talked about earlier, mm-hmm. Or you get the shit beaten out of you.
as a GM, how did walk me through an example of like you're at that point. What does the mission come in? How does that happen? How does a mission look like? You know, how does battling work? You don't have to go into like extreme specifics. Just kind of like, you know,
we're completely off the list of questions now, but that's fine.
Yeah, no, I've been marking. I'm combining a bunch of them together.
Okay, so a mission. So this is where the narrative play and combat play interlock, because a mission can just be simply, hey, fight these mechs. You know, like we're gonna drop you into a battlefield and you have to fight these mechs, and that will be your mission. Or it can be something, and that could be like one session. You know, like maybe license level 0 to 1 will just be like, hey, you're gonna be the cavalry at the last push for this, you know, people. You know, you're just gonna have to fight this final wave and break through so we can, you know, siege the capital or what have you. That will be your first mission. But then later on, a mission can be, it can take multiple sessions. You know, it really all depends on how your you know, like it's just like leveling up in our two separate games. Like, you know, like you give us levels like every other session, whereas me, you have to take a fucking year to level up. So, you know.
Yeah. No, but yeah. Okay. Fair. I think where my mind wants to kind of like understand better is,
okay,
right?
Okay.
You said that.
Wait.
You said that.
Okay. All right.
Narrative is very fluid, and like the mission itself. How does that look like? Because in my head, I'm thinking of, you know, Armor Core or that weird Dreamcast Gundam game I had where like the mech drops, target, kill, mech gets picked up and you're gone.
Right.
Or is it like you're in here, you have to get there and you're an adventurer, quote unquote, in your mech, and you have to do all these things and like sneak and do things and jump here and climb that and deactivate that trap, or like, you know what I mean? Or is it just pew 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 all the way through?
No. Okay, so it's not like that at all. It can be if you really wanted to, but a mission is generally described, you have left civilization, you are going out somewhere with your mech, and your mission is not done until you come back alive. That is generally now, however long that mission will take is entirely up to the GM, what they prepared or what the source material has prepared. But that mission can take 1 session, it could take 2, it could take 5. That's how long that mission is. And it also depends on like what the mission is. Like if it's literally just, hey, we need you to assassinate this target using mechs, whatever, cool. We need to assassinate the target. It might be 1 session because you might be really good at it, you know, or it might be, hey, we need you to take on this fleet of ships. That might be multiple sessions. It really, like I said, that's where narrative and combat, like 1 combat session is not a mission, but it can be if you want it to.
Got it. Okay.
Does that make sense?
All right. Yeah.
Okay.
That makes sense.
Okay.
Mission this big, combats and in between. Okay. Got it.
There are rules for like short and long rests, kind of.
Is there like so here's what hits on my head, right? You get the mission, take over the capital, and you get drop off really far away. You have to make it here and around the main battle or whatever, right? And you're on your mech, you're the whole team in your mech, and you're trying to flank this force, and you're like, there's obstacles and other mechs, other mercenaries who are fighting for the other team. You take them down, right? And in the middle of all that mission, you all get out of your mech, and then you have camp for a short rest. Like, is that like a thing? Yeah. And then you get back in your mechs and you continue after 8 hours with all your things fulfilled? Is that?
Yeah. So that is actually called a full repair. And what that will be...
Repair.
Yeah, a full repair, which means you, like, combat's over. You're not out of the mission. You're still in the thick of it. Like, you're still on, you know, like, you're still in the battlegrounds. But you get out of your mech, you stretch your legs, you take a piss, and then you start working on your mech to repair any damage that happens to it. That's called a full repair. That's considered like a long rest. That's where you get all your HP, you get all your structure points back. But the mission's not over. Just because you took a full repair does not mean the mission's over. Like, the capital's still standing. You got to bring that thing down.
Right.
So that you get what I'm saying?
All right.
Yeah.
I dig that. That's cool.
Yeah.
Okay. I have one question for you.
Yes.
Why didn't you describe to me that the Harrison Armory looks so fucking cool? This guy's on a fucking wall.
Okay, so
I find my mechs.
Okay, so each manufacturer of mechs is terrifying.
Yeah.
And they're all war criminals or just straight up criminals. But is the one that scares me the most. Because okay, so remember when I told you that GMS made the first mech on the planet Raz Shamra?
Yeah.
Harrison Armory now runs Raz Shamra. And Raz Shamra is a giant planet that's essentially boot camp for anthro-chauvinist, like, military people. It is a planet of a military industrial complex.
Do they celebrate 4th of July there?
Oh yeah, they do.
This guy look amazing.
So, okay.
My pronouns are US of A.
So the Harrison Armory was founded actually after the second committee fell, and it was and they were actually very prominent, like not them, but the protogenitors of Harrison Armory were very prominent during SecCom, and they were given Raz Shamra as like a way to like pacify them, so that way they're like, hey, try not to take over the Union, please. You know, because the thing about it is Harrison Armory is actually considered like one of the most powerful forces within Union. The fact that they have a CIA that's on par with Union, like their mechs can, if they want to, they can just dominate Union. Like, you know, like they really could, but they also know that working with Union will make it better for them in the long run. That's the only reason why they haven't. Yeah. Remember when I told you that one of the manufacturers was like America in the future?
Yeah. As soon as I saw the first mech, I was like, "Yep, this is America."
Okay, so if you really want to get into this, each of the manufacturers incorporate one of the mech skills, because there's 4 mech skills, right? These are the stats. There's hull, which is like durability, HP, how physically strong your mech is. There's agility, which kind of says its own thing. There's systems, which is like how good of a hacker you are versus how good your system defenses are against hacking. And then there's engineering, which is things like how far you can push your mech before it starts physically melting around you.
So each corp kind of like
encompasses one of those stats.
Got it.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm assuming whole is the I forgot the name. Harrison Armory.
Actually, you're wrong. Hull is IPSN.
Oh yeah, okay, they're chunky too.
Yeah, IPSN has like the physically toughest mechs. Agility is Smith Shimano because they have like ninjas and snipers and stuff. Yep. Systems is Horus because they're all about hacking. There's actually one mech called the Goblin that has almost no, what's the word I'm looking for? Offensive capabilities. It is purposely just meant to open the metaphorical wires of your mech and just rip everything apart. Yeah, people love and hate the Goblin at the same time. And then there's engineering, which is Harrison Armory, and that can be exemplified by, there's one frame in specific called the Tokugawa, which all the Harrisons are named after famous generals. All the Harrison Armory mechs are named after famous generals. All the Horus mechs are named after monsters. All the Smith Shimano mechs are named after either butterflies or moths. And all of the IPSNs are named after pirate captains. Yeah, or pirate-based stuff. Like the Tortuga is like a famous island.
Yeah.
So the Tokugawa, what it is that it's right out the gate, it's kind of an okay mech. But what you have to do is that you actually have to start overheating your systems. And once you start building up heat, you like your attacks get like twice amount of range, twice amount of damage. Like you have to ride on a razor's edge between melting your mech and becoming like a god amongst men on the field. But if you manage to do that, then you will be like nigh unstoppable. And that's just one frame. Like a lot of and there's a Venn diagram between all that. It's not a hard fast rule. Like there's like one of the Horus mechs actually has one of the highest base HP. So that could technically be like a whole mech, but there's just a general emphasis on each one.
Yeah. I'm assuming probably a dumb question, but different frames can work together, right? It's not like
absolutely.
It's not like okay.
Yeah.
It's not like the Harrison is specific. If this mission, I mean, I guess narratively you can be like you cannot use the Harrison frame or something like that, but like those are like quote unquote the classes type.
Yeah.
For a party.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. No. You are totally allowed to mix and match. There's actually like kind of like a meme within the culture the fandom that's like, oh god, they all went for Horus. Oh Jesus, how do I do this? but no, you can totally. And in fact, it's. I'm sorry, what were we gonna say?
No, go ahead.
Okay, and it's actually kind of reinforced that you want to have a little bit of balance, because the thing about it is, let's say you all go for IPSN. Well, okay, cool, let's yar har har it up, I love hitting shit, but they all have very weak systems, so all it takes is one good Horus frame to show up into the picture and all your systems are going to get hacked to crap.
Right, that makes sense.
Or maybe we're all Smith Shimano. Okay, well then here comes the Harrison Armory Genghis, which uses fire. We're all going to start overheating because our engineering is not that great. You know what I'm saying? So like
yeah. Okay.
So you kind of want a little something, from like maybe one person plays that, one person plays this, kind of a deal.
Yeah. That makes sense.
The thing about it is, well, no, I'm just gonna say the thing about it is, like, if you're playing a support mech, you're going to have to want to play a support mech. The support mechs are good, just don't expect to be like covered in glory or anything like that.
Yeah. So you mentioned earlier that there wasn't like a turn order or like a specific way of battle.
No.
How does that work? Because
okay,
turn order is so ingrained in my brain that.
Okay, this is going to break your mind a bit, but you have to follow me here. All right.
Okay.
The GM says, "All right, combat starts now." The players always go first, meaning that they will pick amongst themselves who gets to go first. Or if no one gets to decide, if they're all indecisive, the GM will be like, okay, I'm going to pick you to go first. Is that cool with you? Cool. All right. That player goes first, then the other side goes, and then the next player goes, and then the other side goes, and the next player goes, and the other side goes, until there's no more people left. Obviously, if it's stacked to one side, like if there's more NPCs than there are players, then it's going to be player NPC, player NPC, player NPC, 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 NPC,
Right. Okay.
That turn goes. Next turn happens. The enemies go first. And then the GM will decide which enemy goes first, and then the players will decide who goes first on their side. And then we start all over again. That sounds like it's going to take a lot of time, but the reason why initiative order changes every turn is so that way you guys can strategize. Like that way both sides of the screen can strategize. Okay, so they're doing this, I'm going to do this instead, and I'm going to piggyback off this guy's system or what have you. Also, because of that, like you can also plan your reactions, because just so you know, reactions in this game are different. You don't get a reaction every round. You get a reaction every turn.
Okay.
Depending on the reaction. So if your reaction says once per turn, that means the NPC goes, I use my reaction to shoot him with a gun. Bang! Okay. And then my turn goes, I'm going to attack the same guy, blah, blah, blah. Next NPC goes, I'm going to use my reaction to shoot this guy again with a gun because it's once per turn.
Shit.
Yeah. So combat is crazy. That's why combat's also so crunchy. But again, that all depends on the reactions. There are some reactions that say 1 per turn. There's some reactions that say once per round. So, it's not as broken as you think it is. You just got to kind of read it. But yeah, the whole reason why it does that is so that way you guys can start strategizing on both ends, because it's a tactical RPG, and because it's tactical, like everybody knows everything. Like me as a GM, I know exactly what your mech can do, and that's not me metagaming, because that's just part of the world. However, on the other side, if I'm a player and you're the GM and I'd be like, hey, what does that NPC do? What are they capable of? I have to tell you. Like I'd be like,
yeah, because I'm assuming they have like access to the internet, quote unquote, and just kind of like model whatever they think, and they pulls everything.
Yeah,
out.
They can scan your systems, be like, oh, hey, it's capable of doing this, and blah blah blah. Now, like,
is there like an NPC, enemy, monster, whatever you call them in this game that like you can't tell what they do?
Oh yeah,
so it's like,
you know what? That's
so it's like uber terrifying. We've never seen this frame before. What does it do? Scan. Computer can't read it.
That is actually a really good idea. I haven't memorized the NPCs. I wouldn't say no to that. Like,
I just think it'll be cool, especially if it's like a really monstrous type thing, Not for all of them, maybe for like a one specific one or something. So you keep saying NPCs, is that like just a term for anything including monsters? Or is there no monsters?
There are monsters, but that's not where the emphasis is on. A lot of the emphasis is on mech fighting, which is why I said that's like there is like a lot of your conflict is probably going to come from like political ideologies or just clashing societies or what have you. There is actually the page 284 is where you can start building NPCs, and this is all NPCs all the way down.
Yeah.
However, on page 324, I said 284, now we're at 324. That's how many fucking NPCs there are, people. On page 324, there is actually stats for making monsters. Now, like I said,
atrocities.
Yeah. Now, like I said, this is intentionally vague, because so that way you're not like stuck, like shackled to one thing, and just like with any other system, you're more than willing to just add stuff on top of that, Right. So but it's more like you fighting a monstrosity would be what's one I'm looking for, would be like an outlier, like if you were to go onto a planet and you find a monstrosity, like that is a big event in humanity where you're like, whoa, hold on, hold the phone. Like, did you just see that shit? Like that would be like a gigantic moment in the narrative, whereas like, fighting a person, oh, humanity is the real evil,
Yeah. So let me ask you this, because like there's a lot of things to kind of keep track of, right? Especially for a GM. Is there any tools out there? I know that you just mentioned the what is it called, the CompCon or whatever it's called.
Yeah.
But is that mainly for players, right? That's how they keep track of their mechs.
Yes.
Is there like here are the mechs of the NPCs that I have on the field? Some quick reference or anything like that the GM can just kind of like look at instead of flipping through the books or so much.
So, if I'm not mistaken, you can also use CompCon for NPCs as well. I might be wrong on that.
Yep, I just looked at it. My mouse was right on top of it.
Yeah.
Encounter toolkit.
Yep.
NPC roster, encounter builder, and mission runner. Mission builder, and mission runner. Wow.
So
never mind.
No, but I mean, but also like the fandom has done a really good job of making like cheat sheets and like GM screens, kind of as it were, for this kind of stuff. But like CompCon, like it's almost to the point that if you're not using CompCon while you're running Lancer, like what are you doing? Like you're just making it harder for yourself.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, like there's the Discord, there's a Lancer Discord, which I'm a part of. Hi. There's
Yeah, me too. They're actually, yeah, they're very friendly.
They're very cool. A lot of people be like,
Yeah.
oh, they hit the ban hammer a lot, but then you look at the ban log, and it's like people being dicks, and you're like, yeah,
Of course.
yeah. Oh no, heaven forbid that you got called out. But yeah, there's the Lancer Discord. There's also the Lancer subreddit, which they're all really cool. That's also like a pretty good. It's not as big as the Discord, but it's also a pretty good like resource in terms of like, oh hey, I made this thing for you guys to use for your Lancer campaigns. You know, so the fandom is very cool about providing tools for you, as well as massive systems or massive press themselves. Next question.
I mean, that's pretty much it. I mean, the rest of this is essentially, is there any, if there was a GM out there who wanted to try Lancer for the first time, is there any already written adventures that said GM can, asking for a friend, can run?
There is one specifically meant for new players. It's called Operation Solstice Reign.
Now, does it come with pre-built by any chance?
No. This is the unfortunate part of Lancer, because it is so small. Like it's nowhere near as big as Wizards of the Coast, nor is it ever going to be, because
what's it called again?
Operation Solstice Reign.
It's from my friend. He's interested.
Oh, okay. I see how it is. Because it is so small that anything that you're gonna have to do, like you're just gonna have to put in the work. Like, you know, there's
right. Okay.
Like there might be maps available in Solstice Reign or the narrative campaigns, but like you're just gonna have to put in the work and just put it in there and just really rely on just like the players being cool with that. You know, I mean, what's up?
Is there like a virtual tabletop that you recommend for this game?
There is.
Is there anyone that supports it officially, or is it just kind of like you said, you just make it?
See, the thing is, I did some research on it, and Foundry says they support it, but once I look further in, it doesn't seem like it's like a Roll20 equivalent to where like, oh, we have the books and maps and stuff like that.
You just click the thing and it builds everything.
Yeah. So it's like what they do is that they have like macros and stuff for Lancer, but I mean, really, in terms of virtual tabletop, honestly, no. Like any, and I don't. This is the hardest thing for me to sell people on, because this is the intimidating part. Anybody that has tried to make anything on Roll20, like I said, farm to table, it's intimidating. It's a lot. You know, there's a lot to put in. I mean, there is the Lancer character sheet, so that helps you out. You know. But like anything on top of that,
But do you need the character sheet if you're? Oh, I guess if you're making rolls.
Yeah.
If you're using the CompCon.
Yeah, CompCon is really just for reference and stuff, and for you to keep track of like your personal inventory. But you still need the character sheet for like rolls and stuff like that. Unfortunately, like I said, it's just gonna have to be from the ground up, and that's like you're gonna have to want it. You know.
Yeah, I mean, that's fine.
Yeah.
I'm sure I can find all types of artwork and stuff like that. I think it'll be very interesting to run this with this team, because it doesn't sound... I think that might be beneficial to have a session 0 to walk through the basics.
Yeah.
Because it's a big departure. Because even Cyberpunk Red was like, oh, okay, it's still an RPG. You know, here's your skills and here's your roles. It just works a little differently. This one's like a full-on...
Well, I mean, the thing about it is that like you're gonna need not just a session 0. Like if we do a session 0, because like we do session 0 for D&D, and that, I mean, to be perfectly honest with you, outside of us like reacting to our own roles and stuff like that, it's like 15-20 minutes, right? Like building a character. But like this session 0, like if we were to run a session 0 for Lancer, like that would be its own actual proper session, because we have not even scratched the surface in terms of mechanics for for the mechs. Like we haven't talked about structure damage. We haven't talked about how HP works. We haven't talked about how the engineering checks and stuff work. Like there is it's so rich with like stuff, you know, like, and it's one of those things. It's like it might intimidate people, but like once you get it, you kind of get it, you know?
Right.
So,
I think the best approach would be to kind of like make comparisons with D&D or with like traditional RPGs.
I mean, you can, but it's also not gonna be quite a one-to-one. Yeah. So that
makes sense.
So like you need to let people know like, hey, I'm gonna try to make analogies to D&D to help you out, but it's gonna be square peg and, you know, round hole kind of situation. You know.
Yeah. I mean, I'm honestly excited because I do want to run Lancer for you specifically, so you can get it out of your system.
Honestly, if it's just me, that's totally fine, man.
This is a one-on-one session. No, but like it sounds like a lot of. It does sound like a lot of fun. Like just the lore itself got me excited to want to play the game.
And like I said, we haven't even gotten into the. We haven't even gotten into the mechs.
We haven't even gotten into the full mechanics.
Jose, can we please do an episode on the mechs?
Yes, we can do an episode on the mechs.
Like, I want to do an episode on the IPSN mechs. I want to do an episode on the Smith-Shimano mechs. Can we please do? I'm asking you on air, so I put the pressure on you. No, I'm kidding.
Don't put that evil on me.
But no, it's just like there's just so much. I can't believe how much I was able to get out of this. Like there's no pages that are being wasted in this book. You know what I'm saying?
Sounds like it.
Yeah, it's amazing. Yeah. I love it.
So stay tuned for a possible Lancer live streaming. It's just gonna take some time, Andrew. You have to give me some. You can't burn out quite yet.
No. I'm not. No. Believe me. Once I found out, because like, what's it? I think it was like the last session of Rhyme, like before we started. I was like, okay, I'm gonna look up Lancer on Roll20. Nothing, absolutely nothing. I'm like, you gotta be kidding me. And then I looked up like Lancer RPG VTT for virtual tabletop, and it's like, and I'm like,
it's up in the air.
I'm like, are you serious? There's no like, practically no support. Like, it can't be that small, but you know, I guess it is. So,
yeah. Well, I'll definitely make an effort to actually like learn how to run it so we can run it, because it does sound like a lot of fun.
I mean, the thing about it is that if you learn to run it as a player, then you kind of already know how to run it as a GM. It's just multiple little guys instead of one big guy that you're focusing on. So,
do you have anything else for Lancer that I know you do, but we're 2 hours in.
For this episode? No.
Yeah, for this episode.
For this episode, unfortunately, no, because what's it? They're playing the music. They're playing me off. So. No, I'm not done yet.
The water bottle comes off the frame of your screen.
I want to talk about how the Manticore can self-destruct. No!
Oh man. Well, let's talk about my favorite part of every episode, which is
Lancer.
Session highlights.
My session highlight was when we talked about Lancer.
And we'll get Lancer on the table, I promise.
Will we though? Will we?
Like I mentioned earlier, I think this group can benefit from playing some different RPGs for sure.
I honestly think if we got one combat encounter in, just be like, you know, like, hey, let's literally just drop them into a battlefield. I bet you that.
Come in helicopter, you know, fucking Pacific Rim style.
Yeah, just drop.
The kaijus are coming.
I bet you that will win over the majority of our table.
Yeah, I think so too. All right, Andrew. Two weeks since last we played together. We played what two sessions of Rhyme.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have any session highlights?
I would probably say in terms of session highlights, Well, I mean, I really don't have like one specific thing. I know it sounds like kind of like a cop-out answer, you know, we're just like, oh, it's not just one thing, it's everything. Everything's a session highlight. But no, it's like, it's really just like, I don't know. I like the energy that the table is bringing back, you know?
That's 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 exactly what I was gonna say, because I feel like everybody's energy is so high coming back to Rhyme.
Mm-hmm.
Even Octavio, because like so with Octavio specific, a couple of different moments was like when we got back to, what's it, Brinchander, right? That we got back
East
to
Haven.
I mean, East Haven, sorry. And then the guy met us there, like, you know, welcome the heroes of East Haven. And he's trying to do this whole like speech thing, and Octavio just keeps interrupting him by accident. Like little things like that throughout every single session has just been like little small bits of highlights that I miss so much, because like when I was DMing, yeah, it was all fun and games because it was like pew pew lasers and like, you know, like so much fun and get from point A to point B.
Mm-hmm.
But like all the small moments in between point A to point B in Rhyme are always so precious to me. Specifically, just the way things just keep coming back.
Yeah.
Like, it's like playing, yeah, it's so much fun.
Like, and this is gonna sound really corny, but hear me out. But I think it's the fact that we even got back into Rhyme is like a session highlight. Because I had told you about this a lot. Like that little known fact, I air a lot of my stuff to Jose. But like,
I'm your own personal therapist.
I guess so, man.
I'm really bad at it.
Hey, you know what? You're better than nothing. So, but like,
yay!
but like, I was
big sticker, better than nothing.
Nintendo seal quality right there. But like one of the things that I was really worried about was that I was really worried that like oh god, now that we've been off of Rhyme for like months now, like are we gonna like lose the momentum? Like is people not gonna want to come back to this? Is it gonna be stale? Unbeknownst to me, well, kind of, but you know, hey, whatever. But like a lot of people are like, when are we getting back in the Rhyme? When are we getting back in the Rhyme? You know, and it was during the board game weekend thing that like, and this is gonna sound like I'm like patting myself on the back, but it's really not. This actually really helped quell a lot of my fears. But like when you guys were playing Dead of Winter, like it was just me, Robert, and Heather, and they were all just talking about how much they like Rhyme and stuff like that, and how they can't wait to get back into it and stuff. And I felt very validated. Like I was like, oh, thank God. Okay, so it's not like you guys just show up because you got nothing better to do on a Wednesday.
No, dude.
You know?
We're all full. Listen, we're all full adults with like full lives, and like the fact that we all make time on Wednesdays just to come play D&D is a big
I
deal.
know.
Even Chris, like he's very busy, and like he's like, yeah, I'll be there. Like that means the world.
And that's one of like I was genuinely worried that I was kind of throwing Chris into the deep end, getting him into Rhyme, but he like so far he's kind of matched the group's energy, you know. Yeah. like he, I mean, he's obviously not to the point that like the interactions between like Robert and Octavio having like this, you know, like deep heart to heart kind of thing, or like or like Swift and Barry kind of discussing, but like he's there for it, you know.
Yeah.
Whether he's genuinely excited, I hope he is. But you know, but the fact that he's there and he's showing up and he's like getting invested into his character, like, you know, like I like the energy that he's bringing to the table as well, you know.
Yeah, no, he's you can tell like he's not comfortable like role playing to the level that, not that we're like,
and that's fine,
SPNs or anything.
Yeah. But
you like you said, like he's there, he's cracking jokes, he's like saying the things here and there, you know, like like how we were before Robert showed up, you know, like that type of role play where it's not me acting out, is like my character does this type of role play.
Yeah.
So it's valid, and he's having a good time. I do think that like he's gonna like it even more once we get to an actual confrontation or encounter.
Well, that's hopefully gonna happen in the next session. I would be very not disappointed. I'm never disappointed in you guys, but I would be very much questioning if you guys made it to a Dwargar Fortress and next session no confrontations happen.
Oh yeah. Oh, Okay, here's a highlight when Octavio was like sweating his ass off, and people are like, because I still have my winter clothes on, and the ring of warmth.
Like, why?
It's like, are you gonna change? Yeah, I was just wanting to get to an inn.
But like I like the I like the fact that like people still remember small details about like certain towns or certain people, you know, stuff like that. And I just really like how in game everyone's catching Chris's character Misha up just full of just like inane, like, oh yeah, by the way, he doesn't sleep in a proper position. Oh yeah, by the way, you know, this town likes pickpocketing. Oh yeah, by the way.
Oh my god, that why didn't we talk about that session? That part of a session highlight. The part of the session that's a session highlight.
What?
When they're doing the seance.
And fucking Alex is like, I want to pick everyone's pocket and then put the money I pickpocket into Ronaldo's pocket. Hold on. This
even Octavio falls for that.
Okay, Heather, I know you're listening. I want you to tell Alex to give his character inspiration. Because at the time I didn't realize it, but that was awesome.
Yeah, you should probably message.
Yeah, I will. I will. Once we're done recording, I'll let him know.
But yeah, because Octavio's like, I can't remember. Octavio was just like legitimately trying to like understand what was happening and asking all these questions and throwing Ronaldo off completely from his seance. And then Mittens is just kind of like, I'm gonna pickpocket everybody. And you know, okay, cool. Mittens does that. So he rolls and he does well. And then he later on, as Octavius like role playing with Ronaldo, he's like, okay, now I'm gonna put it all in Ronaldo's pocket.
God damn it. Oh man.
So good.
Okay. So this is gonna sound like I'm being antagonistic, but you have to understand where I'm coming from. My personal session highlight was when the 3 cursed people go to the church to get the blessing and stuff like that. And then I start doing the stuff for Swiss character. Now, you don't know this because you have no way of knowing, but Robert actually messaged me something. And then I'm like, hey Robert, can we go to the whisper chat? And just everyone going, oh man. Like that, to me, that was my personal session highlight. Oh, there's some bullshit going on here.
Yeah, I also love that the whole part, like the 3 cursed people are having like this really intense like moment at the church, like lifting curses and stuff like that. And then Mittens and Octavio are just having like a spa day.
Yeah, just cucumbers on their eyes and stuff like that. Oh man, but no, I'm, you know, like I was hesitant at first, but now I'm excited to get back into Rhyme. We're finally getting to what I consider the cool stuff. You know,
damn.
So
it's only been 2 years.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Well, I mean, don't get me wrong. The rest has been pretty cool. In fact, it's been pretty cold. But
get out.
Okay.
I'll finish the episode without you.
But now I feel like we're getting into like what makes D&D, you know? So like I'm very excited for the upcoming sessions and stuff.
Yeah.
So
for sure. Well, do you have anything else, Andrew?
Okay, so Horus mechs, how they come about is
thank you everybody who joined us today for another episode.
Switch them on us, you did it! There's no good guys in the Union.
Thank you everybody for joining us today. Hope you had a good time and learned something about Lancer. Please support them. They're, like Andrew said, they're very small, but they're pretty awesome community. I think the PDF is like $25, and it's a lot of information, cool art, cool ideas. Well, it's all there.
Not only that. Okay, so if you buy the PDF, all you're getting is the lore. Everything else, mechanics and mechs, that's free. That's free.
Oh yeah,
that's free $99. Anything if like so like if anyone's interested, go onto Massive Press, get the free book, the free version of the book, and just check it out. And if you really like it, if stuff's like tickling your brain, like, oh hey, what is this? What does this mean? What is that? Then throw them a couple of dollars and you get like this rich, like in-depth lore, you know?
Yeah, and it's beautiful. It's well designed. Like I said earlier, the art is so cool. This whole episode, I've been looking at the art, and I'm like, oh my god, I want that.
Okay, I know people are like, oh, you can choose anything else to make your mech look like that, but like, why would you?
Yeah, exactly. Super awesome stuff. I remember there's plenty of RPGs out there, and we were making it a mission, Andrew and I, to play other types of RPGs with our table. Damn it!
Oh, wait! I forgot to list an online resource, which feels like a crime.
Oh,
there's a YouTube channel called 11 Dragon Kid. Kid spelled with 2 D's. This guy is like spearheading, like Lancer, like awareness and stuff like that. Like this dude knows everything there is to know about Lancer. Like most of his channel is dedicated to just Lancer stuff.
Well, should be like one of the writers.
Yeah, right. That'd be something. But what's it? Like he's so well known that like whenever someone like mentions 11 Dragon Kid in the Discord or Reddit, people are like, dude, respect, man. Like that, he's the guy that got me into Lancer. So.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Well, now I'm gonna. I just subscribed to it, so I'm gonna probably listen to all his videos.
Yep.
But yeah.
And the best part is that he conveys kind of complicated stuff in a very easy to understand manner.
Oh, so he's a good teacher.
He's a very good teacher. Like awesome. if I have questions about the book, I go to his channel.
Okay, yeah, because I like that. I hate it when they make things kind of complicated, even more complicated. Yeah,
you might also want to check out the lore stuff because he does lore. So.
Okay.
Yeah. Anyways, sorry.
That's probably gonna be my that's probably gonna be my listen for this week.
Sorry. Finish the episode.
Yes, thank you guys so much. We will be back again in 2 weeks with another episode. I don't know, probably it's gonna be with Heather and another. What was it that we were gonna talk about?
Flails.
Flail snail, wasn't it? Yeah, flail snail. I
think it was a flail snail.
Yeah. Either that, because I need some time because I want to make an episode now about Cyberpunk Red and the new version of it because that's another game I want to run.
How about this?
How
about this? I'll make a deal with you. If we do an episode of Cyberpunk Red, can we do another episode on Lancer?
How is that a deal?
Because we can no. So you can talk about Cyberpunk Red, then we can do a deep dive in Cyberpunk Red, then we can do a deep dive in the Lancer, then we can alternate.
Got it. Okay. Okay. Sure. Yeah, we can do that. I lost my train of thought. Damn it, Andrew.
You said you wanted to make an episode on Cyberpunk Red.
Cyberpunk Red, that's right. Because the one time that we played it, it was super awesome, and for some reason, it's the one video that gives us the most views. Crazy on YouTube. People just keep going at it. But as always, thank you guys for joining us and sticking with us for almost 2 hours. Please make sure to leave a comment, review, stars, whatever it is, on your platform of choice. Also, we are on YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, and Instagram. Make sure to follow us there to keep up to date with our stuff. We're getting back in the groove of our podcast being released on a consistent schedule. So pray for us.
Yeah, right.
But with that, once again, you guys have a wonderful rest of your week, and as always, keep on gaming. Bye, guys. Bye.